100% of product professionals are using AI. 0% now say they don't use it at all. So let that sink in for a second, because then you'll realize that there's a massive problem. More than a third of those teams have absolutely no governance in place. They're sprinting into a future with no guardrails, no strategy, and a fragmented mess of tools that don't talk to each other. This isn't a technology problem. This is a product ops problem. And it's also a massive opportunity. Hi, I'm Ross Webb. And after taking products from 0 to 50 million in revenue at various places and working at places like Amazon and Just Eat and beyond, I've seen what happens when teams adopt tools and adopt tools without systems. It's chaos, and chaos doesn't scale. Today, we're ripping into the biggest AI and product management study of the year. ProductBoard surveyed 379 product professionals, and the data is a wake-up call. AI adoption has completely outpaced strategy. But if you're in product ops or product leadership, this is your moment to step up. Own this chaos and build the systems that will define the next era of product development. Product Board went out and got the hard data we've all been missing. And I've got someone really awesome here who helped build the study, but she's going to tell you a little bit about herself and why her perspective on our community is maybe a little bit different. Here's my good friend, Jaselin. Over to you.
I'm Jaselin. I'm a content marketing manager here at ProductBoard. If you haven't heard of ProductBoard before, we're the intelligent product management platform that helps teams get their products to market faster by helping them aggregate their customer insights, know what to prioritize next, and aligning all of their stakeholders around a shared roadmap. Now, you might be wondering, why is a content marketing manager in front of me on a channel about product ops and product teams and product professionals? Um, I like to think of myself as part of the community, or at least adjacent to the community, because I spend all of my time, all of my work creating content for product people. And so many of you have been so kind to allow me to understand your worlds. I really relate to a lot of the struggles around finding the right inputs, building standardized processes to get something out into market, and then taking the feedback. With all of that said, I also worked with the product board team to help put out this survey, the AI and product management survey, on what's going on right now. And so I'm excited to talk a little bit more deeply about what we found today and get Ross's insights on, what we uncovered.
I love that adjacent to the community, you're seeing patterns that people inside our bubble maybe miss, and that is invaluable. So before we get into the findings that are going to make people, let's say, uncomfortable, tell us, how did Product Board build the study and why? And was now the right time?
Yeah, we started working on this survey, late summer, early fall, and we were just really feeling like there was a shift going on in product management and how teams were using AI. We'd gotten out of that phase of like, okay, what is it? Where do I start to implement it into my workflows, and more into, okay, this is here. We're using it consistently. What does this next phase of deep usage really look like? But we couldn't find any data to really back that up. We saw a lot of reports on, AI in the workplace, AI in different job types, and a lot of thought leadership about AI and PM, but not any of the hard data. So we really wanted to go out and validate what we were seeing. And that's, where we partnered with User Evidence, an independent research firm, to go and survey 379 product professionals on how they're using AI currently. And we spoke to people across industry, folks from healthcare to finance to SaaS. And we focused on companies that were 500 plus employees. So that's really how we brought it together and why we did it in the first place.
Right. Everyone's been talking about AI and product management and product ops, and it's already been vibes and a lot of thought leadership, but not a lot of hard data until Product Board went out and got it. So let's get into the numbers. And what did you actually find out about how product professionals are using AI today, and how much of it surprised you?
The numbers weren't surprising. I mean, 96% of product teams reported using AI consistently, with nearly half embedding it deeply in their workflows. And then for individual product professionals, we saw that 94% reported using it daily or often. 0% said they did not use AI at all, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. 100% of people we talked to that we surveyed are using AI daily. Again, it's not shocking in principle. We're all experiencing the shift, but to really wrap your head around the numbers is just, it's a little bit mind boggling. And then we also investigated how are people using AI as a person, as a contributor on their team, versus how are teams using it to work better together. And what we saw was that individuals mostly use AI to lean into things like analytics, strategic thinking, really work that helps them kind of like move the needle. And then in comparison, when you looked at how teams were using AI, they focused more on collaboration and executional tasks. So, for example, with individuals, we saw that 80% reported using AI to synthesize, their customer feedback and surface insights, helping them move a little bit faster.
That split is fascinating. Individuals are using AI to move the needle, analytics, strategic thinking, synthesizing customer feedback. But teams, they focus on execution and collaboration. And that tells us where the real leverage is. But here's where it potentially gets ugly. Product Board's report talks about a fragmented AI stack, and I've been warning about this for months. So, what does the chaos actually look like in the data in comparison?
In comparison, when it came to team usage, 65% reported using it to draft documentation, things like PRDs. So, again, not particularly surprising, but it's interesting to kind of reframe AI usage into how are you approaching processes from a certain function level, whether it's your workflows, your team's workflows, or even your whole product org's workflows. It may be sad to hear, but there is no single solution. There is no AI cure all. And that really came out in the data. 89% of people we surveyed reported using at least two tools, specifically two AI models, whether it's ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Llama, you name it. People are using at least two. And the same was true for AI prototyping tools, at least two. So, what that said to us was, you know what, there is no one AI tool meeting all of the needs of a product professional, a product team, and, I think we all experience that pain. I know I'm using multiple tools. Ross, I know you're using multiple tools. And I think it's a really big opportunity area for product ops professionals to lean in because your teams will be doing a lot of experimentation. We see the next phase of maturity with AI really being how do you orchestrate those tools together? And Ross, I know that's something that you talk about a lot. So would love your perspective here on what that looks like. But really just want to emphasize that the survey showed that there is this fragmented tech stack. And so we need to start thinking about how do we address that? How do we make it work for us?
89% using at least two AI models, at least two prototyping tools, and that's just the minimum. And that is exactly why I keep banging the drum about orchestration. The game isn't finding the perfect tool anymore, it's connecting the tools. You've already got into something that actually works together. But with all these tools flooding into teams, governance has to be a nightmare, right? But what did Product Board's data show about policies or the complete lack thereof?
We saw that adoption has definitely outpaced governance. While 100% of respondents reported using AI, more than a third are doing so without having a formal policy in place. Obviously, that opens teams up to a lot of risk, but we did see something make a difference, which was having centralized ownership. We saw that when respondents reported having their product ops team in charge of tooling decisions, 69% were more had documented AI policies. And similarly, we also saw teams reporting that AI was more deeply embedded in their workflows. So again, going back to that opportunity, if there was ever a time to make a business case for product ops, it's right now because with all of this unknown about AI and risk and potential, exposure, like product ops can really help streamline and build the foundation for product teams to be successful. And we've had a lot of input from some of our partners at Product Board talking about how critical it is right now for product teams to actually partner with their security teams. Obviously, it can be a little bit trickier, and there's definitely a conversation to be had about how do you create a policy that's flexible enough to allow experimentation and help teams really learn about AI and get to find what works for them while also protecting customer data and all of that. So don't want to acknowledge that we shouldn't have that conversation. It should be had. But partnering with a security team can really, really help ease this process. And product ops owning that is a huge, huge, huge area of opportunity.
Stop right there. When product ops owns tooling decisions, 69% have documented AI policies. When they don't, chaos. That's not correlation. That's a business case you can take to your leadership tomorrow. Product ops isn't a nice to have anymore. It's a difference between controlled adoption and uncontrolled risk. Now, the £1 million or $1 million question everyone's avoiding. And Product Board is going to be asking teams how they're measuring ROI on all this AI investment. And what did they find?
I think we all want a really clear answer on how do I show the value of where I'm spending my time and our team's money on AI. And what we saw was yes, there's some, but also there's no universal formula. On average, organizations respondents reported using 3 different metrics to measure their ROI, and they were mostly focused on tangible outcomes. So, increased output and cost savings. But, we're entering an era where we're going to have to actually prove the bets we've made, the investments we've made on the processes, even on, our product strategy, obviously. So, you know, those tangible metrics, while they're important, they may not be necessarily enough. And we saw only 40% said they measured their ROI um, on AI in terms of business metrics like ARR. So finding that connection, being able to draw that story clearly between where your team's choosing to invest in AI and how that's impacting the wider company's goals and hitting those numbers is going to be a really important motion for product ops teams and product ops or product teams in the future.
Only 40% are measuring ROI in terms of actual business metrics like ARR. And that's a problem because when budgets get scrutinized, and they will, if you can't connect your AI investments to revenue, you're going to be on the back foot. So let's land the plane. If someone's watching this right now thinking, what do I actually do on Monday morning? What are the key takeaways from Product Board's research that they need to walk away with?
I would say, I want to pose this a little bit differently. So, I'm going to do a takeaway and a reflection question because I want you all listening to be able to, walk away from this and really think about how you're approaching your work right now differently. So, one of our biggest takeaways, obviously, AI is the new minimum. So, how are you using it currently? Where is it slowing you down versus speeding you up? Because right now we need to assess, where is AI actually useful and where is it not? Then the AI tech stack is fragmented. So, how many tools are you using? And how can you bring them together? What integrations, what connective tools are you not using right now that you could to really force multiply your efforts? Then, governance is lagging. What do you have in place currently? What do you not know about security that could be getting in the way or potentially exposing you to risk? And then how can you partner with security better to go and solve that? And finally, there is no universal formula for ROI. So how are you measuring it currently right now? And to truly present a business case about something, what are you missing? What data can you go and find or start to build a process for that would help you be able to tell the story better? So we have more insights in our report about how roles are changing, what the new skills will be. So definitely go take a look. But yeah, that's what I would pose as how to think about this survey and then what questions you should be asking yourself from it.
Reflection questions, not just takeaways. I love that because the answers are going to be different for every single team watching this. Jaselin, thank you so much. This has been fantastic. And I always enjoy spending time with you. But for our viewers, where can they check out what Product Board has been working on?
If you want to check out what we're working on here at Product Board, go to productboard.com/spark. And of course, if you want to check out the survey, find the link in the description.
The link to Product Board's full AI and product management report is in the description. And if you're in product ops or product leadership, this is required reading. Don't skip it. So massive thanks to Product Board for talking to us and partnering with us about this on this video and for doing the work to get us real data instead of just more opinions. So check out that link in the description and don't forget to subscribe to Product Team Success if you want more insights on product ops and product leadership. So until next time, I'm Ross Webb. Bye for now.